Attention, this is not an unabridged video. It is highly recommended that you watch part 1 before you watch this to fully understand my poorly articulated thoughts on this game. With that out of the way, let the video commence. But okay, if my last video is anything to go off of, we've clearly seen that this game can hold up on its own. But the million-dollar question that's still on our hands here is, of course, why make an entire game out of Astro? Couldn't they have chosen literally any other character? Wouldn't it have been more lucrative to do so? However, when you start to look at things closely, things start to make a lot more sense. Because while the character of Astro Bot may be relatively new in the grand scheme of things, he may just be another contender in a long line of failed PlayStation mascots. You see, for a while now, Sony has been trying to create a mascot character that could serve as a recognizable icon for the PlayStation brand. They've tried with guys like Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, even friggin' Polygon Man, but for one reason or another, none of them have really managed to stick well. Yet after decades of failure, this toddler waddling robot just might have a chance. On paper, he seems like the perfect candidate for the job. I mean, look at him. He's a simple design that perfectly blends in with the sleek and futuristic design of modern PlayStation. And not only does Astro being a raceless, genderless robot help him appeal to the widest demographic, but he has already made it his job to show off the capabilities of PlayStation hardware released in the last decade, a feat that has essentially embedded him into the very identity of the company. With this in mind, it wouldn't make sense to not make him the new face of PlayStation. But despite how qualified he seems to be, I fear that this might be a double-edged sword, because as much as his simplicity leads to mascot recognizability, it may also lead to a future of bland, uninspired sequels if not properly addressed. And I think the best way to illustrate what I mean is to set up a simple thought experiment. I want you to try to envision an Astro Bot kart racer. If you've played any of these games, you'd quickly realize that much of the charm of Astro and the other bots come from their ability to emulate other well-known icons in gaming. Like, watch this. Give him a beard, boom, Kratos. Give him a headband, boom, Snake. Remove his soul, now you got a zombie. This sort of piggyback riding of other popular game series, while enjoyable to an extent, I feel sort of takes away from his identity as an individual, and in doing so, prevents the Astro Bot series from being able to evolve much further than a whole load of jingling keys and, ooh, I know that guy, he's from that other thing. To go back to the kart racer analogy, if you were to strip away all the popular IPs, what are you left with? Something that, frankly, looks very generic. What source material does this game have to draw upon in order to create engaging and memorable race courses, ones that don't feel stale after the 4th or 5th playthrough? And I understand that Astro Bot is at its core a tech demo and an advertisement tool, but I don't think that automatically gives it a pass from any sort of creative sterility. That's not to say that this game lacks character though. I've made it clear that that is absolutely not the case. But you do start to see some of that creep in. So in order for this series to be able to develop any further than merely a funhouse of references, Team Asobi will have to build a greater sense of individuality and uniqueness within the game's world, while obviously maintaining a similar feel that still aligns with Sony's branding, which I imagine is a lot easier said than done. Well, let's just see how the rest of this game plays out, shall we? After defeating each world's respective boss, you unlock the last 5 levels, all containing a lost ship component for you to retrieve. These levels are based entirely off of some of Sony's flagship series, a sort of bite-sized representation of each game's world molded into platforming fashion. To complement this, you even get to play as the main character of each respective world, adopting some of their traits and abilities in the process. Now these may just be glorified power-ups. That's it, that's all they really are. But hey, at least they make you feel cool. And being able to wield Kratos' Leviathan axe and explore uncharted territory as Nathan Drake are welcome experiences that I was not expecting at first. Although to be honest, I totally should have. As for retrieving the components, sure, a few bosses might stand in our way, but this is light work for an epic gamer like me. Nice. But after all is said and done, we can return to the ship's crash site. This place has been our central hub throughout the entire duration of the game, the place where we return periodically to repair the mothership, along with other things like returning rescued bots and using those puzzle pieces from earlier to unlock cosmetics and accessories. Each rescued component goes through tech rehab in these really cool interactive sequences that just boast of the DualSense's capabilities. I have no doubt that every beat of this process was meticulously planned to be as satisfying as possible. And once the final wire is snapped in, we're ready. Ready to save the CPU and end this conflict once and for all. This is when the showdown begins, and remember all those consoles that you may have collected in Astro's playroom? Well, it turns out that they are all ships of their own, and the entire fleet of them emerges from the mothership's underbelly to fight alongside you. The fight commences in this over-the-top, Star Fox reminiscent shoot-'em-up sequence, as you fight through 4 stages of adrenaline-pumping action, each one highlighting the home and handheld gaming consoles from generations past. Now, I think if they somehow managed to tie this final fight with how much progress you made in the previous game, this reveal would be a lot cooler. Like, imagine if somehow you could transfer your Astro's Playroom save data to this game, and depending on how many consoles and accessories you acquired, it could change the difficulty of this fight. It would be a pretty clever way to reward players who went out of their way to seek out every last artifact with an easier fight, while making those who didn't do so regret their life choices. I understand that this sequence is heavily scripted, and it would have to be rebuilt from the ground up to even attempt something like this, but it's just a thought. Anyway, I digress. After obliterating all the alien forces, we finally make it to the big man himself, Nebulax. And it's at this point that I have now realized this game is very fond of borderline violating the rights of these poor bosses. Like, look at their eyes, man. You think they deserve this? As for the final fight, I'm gonna be honest, I think I enjoyed the shoot-'em-up sequence more than this. It's still a good fight, don't get me wrong, but after all they did to pump me up for this moment, it just comes off as a little bit underwhelming. Oh well, I suppose they can't all win you over. Anyway, we all know how the story ends. Nebulax is defeated, the CPU is saved, and we can all celebrate as the credits roll and the robots have a little dance party. You know, after all my hours in this game, I've had lots of time to reflect on my experience.
Fight!
What? He came back? You know what? This trope has been done so many times at this point that I am honestly surprised that I was surprised at this. Nebulax comes back for like a minute and tries to take Astro with him. All the robots grab Astro, fighting against him with all their might, not willing to let him be taken. Then, in an act of heroism, Astro lets go and sacrifices himself so the rest of his kind can be safe. Well, there goes any chance at Sony trying to capitalize on this character with sequels or anything like, oh, wait up, oh, and he's come back. Well, go figure. Wait, how did he fall if they're in space? But with one final utilization of the DualSense's capabilities, Astro Bot's limbs are replaced, and he is resurrected. Again. This time the bots truly have a celebration and were led to a section of playable end credits. So there it is. And if it wasn't clear from watching this video, Team Asobi, without hyperbole, have managed to create one of my favorite games of all time. And after beating it to 100% completion, I can definitively tell you, it has been a while since I've had this much enjoyment with a video game. I will definitely be back to relive this experience many more times throughout the years. It's a visual treat, and an even bigger feast for the PlayStation fan, just filled to the brim with charm and creativity. There's honestly nothing major I can say that's bad about this game. Now granted, perhaps my bias might be getting in the way of things, but don't just take it from me. It seems like the general consensus from every reviewer is that this is a nearly flawless experience. From IGN to Eurogamer, everywhere you look you'll see nothing but 9s and 10s for this game, and I'm glad to say so. It's a love letter to gaming, a celebration of PlayStation's legacy, and a bold step forward for its future. The game's doing pretty well commercially too, coming in at around 4.3 million units sold as of the writing of this script. And hey, maybe the money that comes in from this game can start to patch that gaping hole in Sony's wallet after the Concorde fiasco, if you know what I'm saying. But who knows, maybe one day when I return to this world, the rose-tinted glasses will have fallen off by then, and a more critical analysis will be able to be conducted. Just something to think about. Though if this game's platinum trophy is anything to go off of, I doubt this will be the last we see of our little robot buddy, and I'll be right here to purchase the next game and experience his next adventure like the obedient consumer that I am. So as a final verdict, I give this game a peak platforming out of 10. Very good game. Now if you don't mind, I gotta get back to my life now. I'll see you guys in like half a year. And as always, thanks for watching. Wait, what is this? Sony's discontinuing physical games? Man, screw this. I'm gonna switch to PC gaming.